The following presentation is brought to you by the Realm Network.
It's right about time again to swerve again, confuse the general fans again. Add another swerve and then...
Oh shit! It's Vince Russo!
Vince McMahon's best kept secret.
I am the Antichrist of professional wrestling.
David Arquette won the world title.
I've got a wife, 3 kids at home, and I really don't need this shit.
How can this show be so awful, Mr. McMahon? I didn't think it was.
Viagra on a pole match.
And Hogan, you big bald son of a bitch, kiss my ass.
Judy Bagwell on a forklift match. McMahon, the family, The Rock, they screwed us all.
Now, you're the editor, right?
Mankind did it! Jumpy, beat me! Goldberg steered Russo out of the cage.
I'm from New York.
I'll get downright nasty.
This is Vince Russo's The Brand.
This is an honor and a privilege. Paige, I don't know if you listen to my show at all, but I want you to know when I talk about you, I call you Saint Dallas, bro. Saint Dallas, because, listen, man, Paige, I haven't had a chance to speak with you. We did a show together, but not one-on-one like this. Bro, the stuff with freaking Scott and with Jake, and not only Scott and Jake, changing freaking people's lives. You are Saint Paige, bro.
Well, when I was 22, Vince, I've been listening to inspirational speakers my whole life. And when I was 22, I heard a guy named Zig Ziglar. Ever hear of Zig?
I'm very familiar, bro. That name's real familiar to me.
Yeah. I heard him say, you can get whatever you want as long as you help enough people get what they want. And that was just it was already ingrained in me, but it just really resonated, and it just became part of, just who I am. And there's times, man, like when I went out to L.A., that is a great story. I went out to L.A., doing the acting thing, and, man, all the people I helped, from Hollywood on out, I couldn't get anybody, to fucking help me out, at all. And it pissed me off so bad. And it's really where the whole thing about living life at 90% came from. Because I was preparing to do an inspirational speech to 5,000 people, some corporate gig. And at one point I was talking about my life, and I said, but I think differently. I've always believed that life's 10% what happens to you and 90% of how you react to it. And I'm on my Stairmaster while I'm doing it. This is before I go super entrenched in DDP yoga. This is in 2002 where I did my workout for me, but I still did other stuff. I was still lifting weights back then. I was still hitting cardio. I was still doing, the DDP yoga, but I was on the Stairmaster doing it because when you're doing an exercise and trying to remember something like an hour monologue, you tap into it more when you're doing something. And I thought to myself, life's 10% of what happens to you and 90% of how you react to it. And I just went, why can't I just live life at 90%? And that's where that started to happen. But I was still getting myself pulled down with emotional gravity. I would let myself get pulled down because people, I was expecting people to do just a third of what I would do for them. And I couldn't get it to happen. And I remember one day I was Kim and I were still together. And I remember going, man, fuck this. I'm not fucking helping anybody. I'm not helping anybody anymore. I'm over it. And I went to that spot that night. Knobs calls me. Now I hadn't talked to Knobs in about a year or two. And she's listening to the conversation. Hey, hey buddy, listen, I was best friends with Bruce Springsteen's right-hand man, Terry McGovern. He was like a big brother to me. He, from the bar business on out, threw me out of my club when I was 18 years old. 3 times. And the last time it was like, don't come back. And then I started working in the bar business, and I realized what an asshole I was. I went back to Terri, apologized, and he brought me into the club, and he said, I don't expect to be throwing you out again. And I would go on. He would be like my big brother. And, he would go on to run big clubs and then on to work for Clarence Clemens. And when Bruce saw how valuable he was, he became Bruce's right-hand man. So I could get tickets for anyone, anytime. And I'm talking about like 10 backstage tickets, unbelievable seating, and for any of the boys. Because Terri was, loved me and Bam Bam. And so he calls me up, Knob says, hey, D, I know it's a little late, and, Bruce is in town, and, if you can't do it, no problem, but I know you're tight with Terri, and if you ever get a hold of him, we'd love to go to the show, but, blah, 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 and then we talked for a little while longer, and I hung up the phone, and Kim said, I thought, did Knobs just call you out of nowhere for tickets for Springsteen? Well, he called to say hello to you. He goes, no, he didn't. He called because he was looking for tickets. And I said, don't worry about it. We were like, bickering at that time. And so the next morning, I'm in my little office and called up Terri, hooked Knobs up, hung up the phone, and she stuck her head in the door. And she said, I thought you weren't going to do that anymore. And I just looked up to her and I said, Kim, I'm not going to change who I am because of the way other people think. And that became like a mantra,
Yeah, but Paige, listen, first of all, let me tell you this. This interview is not going to be a second about wrestling. Because now that I have you here, there are so many things I want to talk to you about. Paige, I want to tell you this straight up, okay? Bro, I have dealt with serious depression for 34 years, Paige. And let me tell you something. I have such a severe depression. I know I should be on some kind of medication, but I know you'll appreciate this. Bro, seeing the horror stories in the business and seeing what pills did to guys,
yeah.
I won't put a pill in my mouth, bro. So that's why I won't get help. I don't get treatment. Day by day by day, bro, I fight it myself, and sometimes it's a battle to get through. It's a battle to get through the day, Paige. Now, I got to ask you this, bro. I want to tell you a story. I don't even think you remember. But I think this really, this signifies who you are. One of the things, bro, I will always remember about you was, the year was about 2000. WCW was done. I was running a little CD warehouse in Atlanta. And I'll never forget, bro, I got a call from you. You wanted to meet me after work. You wanted to share with me this project you were working on. Bro, I hung up the phone. I was probably dealing with depression. I was freaking tired. I love Paige. I didn't want to meet up with Paige after work, but I know you don't tell Paige no. And I met up with you, bro. I believe we were at an Applebee's. This is 2000. And, bro, right then and there, 17 years ago, you laid down the foundation of DDP Yoga. Here we are, 17 years later. Everything you said you were going to do, and it started with a book, you conquered it, bro. You did it all. Now, Paige, you mentioned about, you're not going to change the way you are. Paige, I'm a very emotional guy. So, I let my emotions dictate to me. Positively, Paige, being a positive guy, helping other people, is that all up here? How do you control this? Bro, when you got to the point of nobody's helping you in Hollywood, F everybody, That I would have went with the F everybody mantra. That's what I would have done. Is it up here, Paige? Does the mind just control? Is it the power of the mind that controls everything else?
A to Z. A to Z, man. And again, I quote a lot of people today because the story that's behind the quote is so significant to what life really is. Everyone gets, everyone, and I don't care how bad your depression is, unless you're crazy, which you're not crazy, everybody deals with depression. I call it emotional gravity. And the reality is nobody can pull you down more than you. Someone can just be looking at, you think they're looking at you and you think they're talking shit about you. When the reality is, they don't even know you're over there. But it's like, what's the story that goes on in your head? Like, you can change your state in an instant. And I'm a big Tony Robbins follower because I believe I'm successful because of my drive, my passion, my work ethic, but because I look to people who are successful and I say, okay, how are they successful? Are they teaching anybody anything, or are they just talking? And someone like Tony, me and you know this. I was reading at a third grade level at the age of 30. I grew up with ADD and dyslexia. At a time, no one knew what the hell ADD or dyslexia was. They just thought we were stupid. I couldn't read. I couldn't write, but I could listen. And Tony came out with 20 cassette tapes in 1985 or 86. And I got them. And I listened to them. And one of the things that he said, don't try and reinvent the wheel. If there's someone doing what you're doing, or doing what you dream of doing, take a little piece from them, and a little piece from them, and a little piece from them, and start to make it your own. So right then, at 31, I made a decision I was going to learn how to read proficiently. And creating DDP yoga and turning it into what some people are calling an empire, it's just what I love to do. Becoming a wrestler at 35 and having the greatest honor you can have, getting a Hall of Famer at 61. Again, it all starts in the brain. Really, really hard, though, to accomplish that. But learning how to read in your 30s may have been the hardest thing, the most challenging thing I've ever done. Because it's constant, and I'm always getting a little better. My writing's getting a little better. My reading's getting better. But I'm working on it all the time. But it goes into, I could have been that guy forever that says, I just can't read. And one of my favorite quotes, you say you can or you say you can't, you're right. Henry Ford said that. And then I always throw in, what the hell did he ever do, though? Change the world. You can't focus oh, man, I've got such bad depression. It's okay, how do you change that? Well, what I learned from Tony is you could change your state in an instant. The first thing you have to do is change your physiology. And a lot of people, when they're depressed, they go to this. They slump over. They drop their heads. They're sad. Their face, everything. Boom. Throw your shoulders back. Open up your arms. It's one of the most powerful things you can do. It's one of the reasons I always do it with the DDP workout, because I want to feel that power, that strength. Open up your face. There's something that happens in every single person's life. If you think about it, if it doesn't make you laugh, it will make you smile. Physiology, that's the first thing. You've got to change it. Next thing, what do you focus on? Oh, man, I'm so depressed, man. This is such a bad day. This is going to suck. Oh, man, I'm going to hate doing this. I can't do it. You're right. You're just here. Throw some more dirt on you. Just keep throwing. If you change that voice, say, I got this. This is going to be the most powerful thing I've ever done. before I walked out and gave my speech at the Hall of Fame. I've got my 4 girls, my 2 babies who came up with me, and my 2 new girls that came with me with Brenda. And these are all my girls. And I'm walking out with them, catching what Bischoff's saying, and I'm breathing in and out for 20. Because I'm going to walk out there super chill. The voice that's in my head is saying, this is going to be the best thing I have ever done. I am going to blow people away today. I'm going to change some people's lives. I'm going to make people laugh. I'm going to make them smile. I'm going to make them cry with me. And that's the voice that's going on in my head. Now, let's completely off of me. I'm going to tell you a quote, Vince, and I'm not going to tell you who said it, but I will guarantee you and 90% of the people who are watching this podcast will know exactly who said it when I say what he said. Here's the quote, and I'm going to break it down before I get into what he said. The repetitions of affirmations leads to belief. Now that works the other way too. I can't do it. It's never going to happen. I suck. You're right. As opposed to, I got this. I'm going to own this. I'm working on it. This is going to be the best thing I've ever done. Like the repetition, I am not worthless. I am worthy. I love myself. I'm going to be the best me ever. Positive. The repetitions of affirmations leads to belief. And once that belief becomes a deep conviction, things begin to happen. I'm going to say it one last time. The repetitions of affirmations leads to belief. And once that belief becomes a deep conviction, things begin to happen. Here's what he said. I'm the greatest. I'm the greatest of all time. Who said that?
Muhammad, the great Muhammad.
That's it, right. He'd been saying it, Vince, since he was a teenager. When they picked the top 100 athletes of the last century, he is number 4. He is the number 1 boxer. The next boxer at number 17 was Joe Louis at number 17. He was the greatest of all time. Now, was he really? Or did his affirmation that he said every minute of every day in his brain, I mean, even when he got knocked out and got down and boom, got back up. And he did it till he couldn't do it anymore. And then I was around Ali. I got 3 different times where I got to be around my hero. And this was like before the Dusty Rhodes, before superstar Billy Graham. I mean, Ali growing up was my hero because he talked shit and he backed it up. And then when I really got to find out who the real Ali was, the guy who said, I'm not going to go fight the yellow man. Like, people are going, oh, he's afraid to go to war. I'm thinking, afraid to go to war? This guy's not afraid of anything. He'd never go to war. He would have been paraded around by the generals. Muhammad Ali, the world champion. He'd have been a god. He didn't go because of his beliefs and what was happening at the time. And if you want to talk about, my wife, she knows, like, the biggest thing when people ask me what I'm doing, like, I'm changing the world. Like, that's who I want to be. That's who I am. And I have a magazine, Life magazine, and on the front of it is Gandhi and Mother Teresa and Jesus and Hitler and Mussolini and, all these people who literally changed the world for good or for bad. Jobs, all these Gates, all these guys who literally changed the world. and they're on the cover, and then all their stories are there. And if you turn the magazine around, there's one athlete, Muhammad Ali. The whole page. Like, he believed, he had such conviction, and he took a hit for a long time, for 3 years. He took a hit and was told how he was like the Antichrist. You know, people just were burying him. But as time went on, people realized, like, that's bullshit. Like, let's look what this man is doing and what he's giving up. And then he came back and proved again he was the greatest. Now, imagine how great he would have been over those 3 years. I can't even imagine. But he had already changed the game on a whole different level. And the thing that I loved about him the most, you talk about maybe, and you could say Winston Churchill's one of the greatest orators ever, but Muhammad Ali, as an athlete, was the greatest orator ever. Everybody stole everything from him, and he stole a shitload of his stuff from Gorgeous George, which you gotta love, you know? Yeah. But to see him not be able to get the words out, the guy who was the greatest talker ever, to see him not be able to get them out, and somehow see that he's not okay with it, but he's okay with it. Like, this is part of what God's intentions were. And I'd watch him when he come around kids, man, poof, he will light up, man. And, I mean, I got to be with him 3 times. The first time, you know, he says, lock up, D. I mean, I got pictures with me and him locking up, you know. You know, pictures of fists on each other's jaws. It was really an amazing experience. But that whole thing, the repetitions of affirmations, leads to belief. And once that belief begins to happen, you know, it all changes. Once it becomes a deep conviction, things happen. And, you know, I was watching, have you seen the new Beatles documentary that's out there?
The one on Hulu.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you remember there's a point where they're talking to George Harrison, and he says, they asked him something about the tough times. And he goes, oh, yeah. He goes, you know, there was a lot of tough times, you know, where a lot of, you know, sometimes we wanted to quit. And those guys have been together. George, Paul, and John have been together since day one. Since they were like 15. Mm-hmm. And it would get to a point sometimes, you know, the dressing rooms were horrible. They were 4 guys in a room, 1 bed, you know, food sucked. I mean, you get like anything. No matter what age you are, you start getting depressed and you start pulling each other down. And he would say, every time that would start to happen, he'd say, so where are we going, fellas? And no matter what they were doing, going to the top, Johnny.
I noticed that. And, yeah.
You know, and where's the top? The top of the top, Johnny.
Yeah.
You know?
Paige, let me ask you this, though, bro. And, you know, listen, I put my heart out there with these podcasts, bro. I'm not a freaking worker. I'm Italian. I can't help myself. My family was this way. Paige, let me tell you something. And I'm asking you for help. I really am, bro. I know what the problems are. Now, Paige, listen. I think it's a little different for you because, bro, you're beloved. Everybody loves Diamond. No, you are, bro. You're beloved. Everybody loves Paige. Everybody. It's always been that way since the first time I ever met you and knew you. Everybody loves Paige. It's always been that way. So, bro, listen, if everybody loves you, like it's got, I mean, I would think that would help a little bit in the positivity category.
Well, wait a second. You got to go back to the beginning of it, because when I came in WCW, which is the best example, like Dusty loved me because he already knew me and he knew who I was. And Michael P.S. Hayes, you know, because I got to know him in the AWA, and he gave me his number, And he'd actually, like Dusty, he would call me back. So I developed relationships with those guys. Like, a lot of people, they think it's about who you know or who knows you. And really, that's the first step. What it's about is who's willing to say they know you, who's willing to put their name on the line for you. Like I tell my daughter Lexi all the time, baby, you've got to call them up. You've got to get on the phone with them. You've got to, they already love you. They want to, they love you because they love me. You've already got that, but you've got to develop that relationship. It takes work. It takes work, and a willingness. Like, we talk about 17 years ago, we talked about like the beginning, like that's the embryonic stages of what DDP yoga is, because it was something I knew helped me, and I knew what the people I was working with starting to help them. But I didn't make a dime, and I was $500,000 in, $548,000 of my own money in before I made a dime, which was 5 years ago this May. Like 5 years ago. So for 12 years, and for 8 of them, just pouring money into the company, and again, emotional gravity over that time pulled me down. The key is, Vince, and I listened to you talk, like, this is who I am. That, I'm emotional. I'm this. I'm that. I'm depressed. You're loved. I'm not. Bullshit. A lot of people love you. A lot of people do. But you got to be able to take it in. You got to be able to own it. And then the biggest thing that I tell people, I'll tell you a story. Remember Brickhouse Brown?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. 1997, I walk into Memphis Coliseum. And, I'm on top of the world right now at that time. I mean, I think that was my hottest year ever, 97. And Brick, I knew him from the AWA when I was a manager. And he pulled me over. And he said, D, he goes, I'm so proud of you, man. He goes, you've done the impossible. You're so inspirational. And I hear you're doing a lot of inspirational speaking right now. He said, inspire me. I'm super down, man. I'm super depressed. I said, do you have cancer? No, man. Why would you say that? I said, that's the problem. I go, that's the problem. I go, what's your problem? Well, me and the old lady split up and, and divorce and this and that. And I said, bro, that sounds like life to me. It's how you deal with it. And later on, I would deal with divorce. Was it hard? Hell yeah. But me and my ex are best friends. When I went out to do the Slam Dance Film Festival for Resurrection of Jake the Snake, my wife Brenda and I stayed at Kimberly and Aaron's house for 10 days. That's living life at 90%. It's a mindset.
Paige,
and let me tell you what's up. Let me finish. Let me tell you what. So I said to Brick, I said, do you want some advice? He said, yeah, I do. I said, something, if I say this, you're going to do it. He said, yeah, I will. I said, right down the street from here is the Danny Thomas Cancer Center for Kids. I said, they don't know if you are Brickhouse Brown from the WWE, the WCW, or Memphis Wrestling. They just know you're a star. You're a TV wrestler. I said, Brick, I challenge you. Go down there and see those kids. And those kids are the ones who are like stage 3 or 4. I go, those kids, they're facing death, like in their face, but they're smiling and they're laughing. And if you show up, man, they're going to be so happy that Brickhouse Brown came to see them. I said, I dare you. Go down there. Hang with those kids. Read to them. I said, read there. Tell me you're still depressed. Help somebody, bro. Help anybody.
Paige, I said to you, I'm an emotional guy. And obviously we're all emotional people, but when I talk to you and knowing you, the power of the mind controls your emotions. See, I don't have that, bro. I let my emotions get away with me, and they
You just
affect.
said, I let my.
Yes.
Like, you're right.
I
You do.
I do.
You do.
And that's my question. And I'm not just talking for me. Paige, here's my problem. This is my problem, bro. And if I wasn't in this business, I don't think I'd have this problem. Paige, I do a podcast. This is how I make my living now. So a big part of my living, I have to go on social media and promote. I have to. If I don't do that, bro,
Sure.
I'm done.
Sure.
Every single day, negative attack after attack after attack. You're this. You killed WCW. You're a piece of crap. Every single day. Bro, I'm talking about for 17 years, every single day. My issue is, on an emotional level, it affects me because it's so ugly and it's such a downer, and it pulls me in the gutter every day. How do I sharpen the mind and make the mind stronger to not let the negative affect me? And that's not just for me. I'm asking you this for thousands of people that I know feel the same way.
Well, for starters, for you, and I remember me and you have gone through heat up and down we went through, and the only reason I went to TNA was because you came to me and talked to me. Well, I came to you because Eric Watts was trying to get me to come in, and he goes, you got to see Vince, man. You got to go and talk to him. And me and you had the greatest talk that day, and I was like, what do you mean you're leaving? You just got me to want to come there. You know, and to do that, but I never would have went if I didn't talk to you. And you told me at that point you had a really good relationship with God. Mm-hmm. Where's that at today?
It's at the same place. I mean, that has not changed, and that has been my strength, and that has been my rock. But Paige, it's the daily. It's the daily negativity of, as you know, people that don't know me and have no idea of my makeup and what I'm made out of. But when this is in your face every single day, bro, I don't know how to be able to turn on my computer and just be able to let that stuff roll off my back. That's my problem.
Well, you've surrounded yourself in a really, you become the 5 people you hang out most with. You know, your friends are like elevators. They bring you up, they bring you down. Your environment. Do you really think that I could have helped Jake Roberts, of all people, turn his life around if the environment would have been anything like that? No, absolutely. Right. It had to be full of love. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to read this to you. I saved it. You know, James Brolin is right. Josh Brolin. Josh Brolin. James' dad. You know who Josh Brolin is, right? Yeah. The actor. One of my favorite actors ever. So, you know, Chris Bell, he did Bigger, Stronger, Faster. Yeah. So he's one of the executive producers with me. And he gave the movie to Josh. He writes, Chris, just watched the documentary and I'm in stunned silence. A happy ending, in parentheses, at least for now, question mark. Wow, DDP, what an amazing guy, a real man. Thank you so much for turning me on to that. A great story of hope, love, and real compassion. I needed to see that. And when I read that, man, I was like, wow, that's like the best review could ever get from a guy that I got a lot of respect for, who's also a struggling addict. And, friggin' the environment, like, I don't know, like you're like Bischoff to a degree that you friggin' thrive on controversy, and it's what makes you, because you can talk shit with anybody. You know, for me, if I was you, I would change some of it. I would change some of my approach. The people who were negative to me, like I've had negative people on my Twitter. You know what I do? I block them.
Yeah.
Because you want to have that space out there, I don't give a shit. Go for it. But you're not going to be in my space. And like sometimes if you're on my Twitter at real DDP or at DDP Yoga, I might fill up your whole feed sometimes. And some people will go, man, DDP, you're filling up my feed. What are you doing? I go, obviously not anything for you. Delete me. I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it. I'm taking 2 or 3, sometimes 4 hours out of my time to freaking inspire people to believe in themselves, to pull their head out of their ass. Like I have a cut and paste tweet. Someone says to me, you know, DDP, I'm really depressed, man. And they'll give me the reasons why. The first thing I'm going to do, pull your head out of your ass for starters. Because you can't see anything with your head up your ass. You know, and some people, oh man, that was kind of stiff. I go, delete me if you don't like the way I talk. Because
Paige, I'm laughing at that because as you're saying that to me, I'm telling myself, Vince, you need to pull your head out of your ass. That's why I'm laughing, bro. But go ahead, man. I don't want to interrupt.
Oh, and I appreciate it, you know. And so, Vince, you know, for starters, you want to get yourself a look and you're smiling right now like you're not depressed.
I'm talking to Paige. You're going to talk to me 24 hours a day, bro?
Dude,
how can I not
but
smile?
You can pick up. You have my number, son of a bitch. I've told you. Yo, here's things. Here, are you exercising?
I'm back on the horse. Yes.
Okay, so what are you doing for exercise?
Right now, what I'm doing, bro, because, bro,
don't tell me the reason. Tell me what you're doing.
I'm going down the wrong road with you. But here's what I'm doing right now because I have back issues.
Don't tell me CrossFit. Don't tell me CrossFit.
Bro, I'm just walking.
That's good.
I just do a nice walk for at least an hour right now a day.
That's good though, because again, any kind of exercise for starters is going to relieve stress.
Yes.
Anything.
Yes.
Number 2, are you breathing at all?
No.
Have you practiced?
No.
All right, now, again, before I walked out there in front of 20,000 people, man, I'm breathing in and out for 20. The difference in breath, I mean, I can't even explain it, man. You own your breath, you're really on the way to owning your life. I'm writing a book right now, Vince. I mean, right now. I just finished chapter 7, and it's called Positively Unstoppable, the art of owning it. Owning it can mean anything and everything, whether it's trying to overcome your depression. Because the depression's never going to leave because it's so ingrained in you. It's never going to leave. But you can pull it back. You can fill yourself with positive affirmations. You can focus on your breath. You won't be so emotional. Like back in the old days, driving in Jersey, somebody cut me off. Hey, you son of a... I mean, like, I'd be right to that guy. Today, if I'm not already breathing in and out for 3, I'm going to be. And then for 5. And if the guy looks over to me, I'm going to be like, sorry. Which pisses him off more. And I don't have any of that negative energy. Now, do I still lose my temper occasionally? Hell yeah. I just don't stay there. It's like, do I still get depressed once in a while? Hell yeah. The key is not to stay there. Yeah. And here's the first way to change it. The first way, change your breath. Try to breathe in for 3, like, and then out for 3. And you do it a couple times. Your diaphragm's the biggest muscle. It's the strongest muscle you have. So, but it only breathes like this. That's all it breathes with you and anybody. But when you can breathe like this and like this, and then you can breathe like this for 5 and like this, and then you can breathe for 10 in and 10 out and then 20. I don't know what it is in your brain. I'm not a doctor, but it just goes, and it brings you to a different plane. The people on your fucking Twitter, bro, that give you the shit, boom, block, don't fight them. You're bigger than that, bro. Every single person is bigger than that. Unless you want to engage, then that's a different level. Like, I engaged with that guy who I freaking did the sports thing with after I did it, Labrada or whatever his name is, and he's asking me about my feuds. I tell him about Savage and tell him this beautiful story, and he goes, oh, I want to know about your real feuds, like with Ric Flair and Scott Snyder. And I started laughing because me and Rick, you know, and you know we had heat over the years, but I'm going to tell you how I fixed that, how we fixed that. I came up to Rick at a signing that right after, remember when they dropped all the balloons for him and everything? I mean, the top guy ever in our business, right? He deserves the big send-off. And I'm watching that and I'm thinking, man, I don't want to feel negative about Rick. I don't want him to feel negative about me. So I made a decision right there. When he showed up at the same signing I was at Jersey, we were in the green room. And I asked him to come over for a second, talk to me. He was like, sure, Diamond. I said, you know, listen, Rick, I know we've had heat over the years. And he's like, oh, Diamond, don't worry about that. I said, Rick, I ain't worried about it. I want to fix it, man. I said, I know I've said some shit. You've said some shit. I don't care. I know whatever happened and got us off on the wrong foot, I want to fix it, man. I want to start all over again. And I put my hand out. I said, I'm Diamond Dallas Page. And, man, he hugged me, and that was step one. Step two was it was at a Raw, the old school Raw. He come walking up with Wendy, shook hands, blah, blah, blah. Started talking about my wife had cancer at the time. And we bonded a little more there. Then the next time, and we see each other in the middle, but the next time that was big, I'm at Dusty's memorial. And we both end up, just me and him and our families, in the same hotel. But we're the only two boys in the place. And he sees me getting some food. He comes over, sits down, talks. We leave. Later on, we have dinner that night. We have drinks. We have a great time. So I had always wanted to tell Flair, like, when you put me over in the middle at Spring Stampede for the world title, Ric Flair in the middle, diamond cutter, it changed my life. And I knew it put me one step closer down the line to that podium. And I always wanted to tell him. And I was saving it for the one day I'm going to go in the Hall of Fame. And when I went through all of those people that I thanked, and when I got to him, and I thanked him, man, talked about how Dusty and that whole thing. Did you get to see the speech yet?
No, not yet, bro. No.
Oh, dude, you got to watch it.
I will.
There's a point where I closed talking about Dusty Rhodes, and I remember one time I was so frustrated by the booking committee, and Dusty would let me vent. He was like a dad to me at times, and he would just let me vent. And just one day I took it too far, and I said, I know, Dream, I know I'm never going to be you. I know I'm never going to be Hulk. I know I'm never going to be Rick. I know I'm never going to be the world champion. But, man, they just won't give me the opportunity. And he went, Dallas, enough. And he had never, yelled at me before. So it sort of took me back a little bit. He goes, what did you just say? And I said, well, I know I'm never going to be you or Hulk or Rick. He said, no, D. What did you say after that? And I said, well, I know I'm never going to be the world champion. And, man, he got hot. He said, then what the hell are you doing it for? Dallas, as hard as you work, if you don't believe you can be the world champion, you need to get the hell out of our business right now. And I tell you, bro, it was like he reached through the phone and just slapped me in the face. And I don't remember what he said after that, but I remember exactly what I did. There was a yellow pad next to my phone, and I grabbed it, and I wrote, "I will be the world champion in 5 years." It was 4 years, 4 months, and 14 days. When I stepped in the ring, this is how I said it on my speech, 3 of the biggest icons ever, the Stinger, the Hulkster, and the Nature Boy. And of course, he got the huge pop. And then I said, "Rick, I got to thank you, man. I thank you for changing my life that night and putting me one step closer to this podium. And I just want you to know that I'll never forget it, and I will be eternally grateful." And then I went on to the finish. And Nate and I ran into each other a couple times, and we had good talks. And the night before I left, on Monday night, I was walking to my room, and my wife says, "Honey, Nate's just waving to you." So he was at the bar, of course, you know. So I walk over, I give him a hug, and I go, "Dude, I'm crashing out." He goes, "What time's your flight?" I said, 7:30. He went, "Oh." He goes, "You still living in Atlanta?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "You ain't flying out at 7:30. He goes, "I'm flying out at 2. I got my Lear. You and Brenda are coming with me."
Oh, jeez, yeah.
So he Lear gets me home, and then it's my birthday, the day before my birthday. Takes me out to dinner, won't buy, like, "Oh, no, dude, I know. I'm taking you out to dinner," and then fucking limos me home. I mean, that's where my life is with Nature Boy. And to hear this guy, Labrada, busting my chops about that when he realized he couldn't get me there. "Well, what about Steiner? What about Steiner?" And I'm just going, "Hey, dude, do you realize who you're talking to? Like I'm the positive guy. You're not going to get me." But he kept yelling so much. I went, "Listen, you realize who the fuck you're talking to?" That was Diamond Dallas Page, Hall of Famer, vulgarity, use somebody, it went everywhere. Like, I never done that ever, but he was such an asshole. I just wanted him to go bloop and cut himself off. Yeah. I didn't realize what was going to happen out of it. But, it's just anything is possible to turn around. And you have you have my phone number.
I got to get it when we're done, bro, because somebody stole my phone and I lost your phone number, so I don't. But I'll get it from you again. Hey, Paige, I want to ask you this, bro, because I didn't see this, and I want to make sure I'm correct, because, bro, I can't believe this, and I got to hear this from you. You were on Shark Tank, right?
Yeah.
And you gave the pitch for DDP Yoga, correct?
Yeah.
And they did not invest, right?
No, they didn't.
Paige, I cannot freaking you have to walk me through that, because if somebody would have told me that, I wouldn't believe them in a million years. Between the product and you, I can't imagine.
Well, here's the thing. You film for an hour, for 8 minutes. It's like anything. It's in the edit, and I heard from 3 of the 5, they had been burned on fitness things before. And the one chick, the short-haired chick, I can't remember her name, but she was like, "Well, you guys shot your load, with the disabled vet, and, you're pretty much done." Like, they had no idea, the company we were building, and when we did the whole, because they teach you how to do a pitch. I'm like, "Really? You're going to help us with this?" Me and Steve were going to figure it out anyway, but they actually help you lay it out. And when I told them 5%, they were like, "Dallas, you're really not going to get any, you're not going to get any of the sharks to bite. You need to give 20%. I said, "I'm not going to do that." I said, "How about this? How about 5%? And I only charge $1. And they were like, $1? Well, then no one will care." I go, "No, I'm the next Beachbody." I said, "They get 5% of my company for $1? I think they might be fighting over it." He goes, well, that's not really how the show's made, and if you don't need the money, we really can't put you on the show. I said, wait a minute, I can use the money. Mm-hmm. So when I pitched the whole app idea, their thing was like, you've never done this before. I'm thinking, I've never done anything I've ever done before.
Right, right.
So, like, yeah, okay, yeah, but we're going to, Mr. Wonderful said, well, I see you need $200,000, then you're going to need another $500,000. And I'm like, yeah, but not from you. Like, I'm not going to want any more of your money because bottom line is we don't need your money to begin with. Right now, we have just over $1 million in the DDP Yoga Now app. And we have not promoted it at all. And we have tens of thousands of people that are on it already. And it's a subscription model because we're constantly creating new footage. Like right now for workouts, we have stuff that I created for disabled vets. But it also works for people who are really big and obese. It works for older people. It works for people who are crippled up. And I created it all around the chair. How to help you sit. Like me and Arthur, the disabled vet, we do the first 2 workouts. We don't even get out of the chair. And then we show you how to use a chair. And now we're developing right now as I speak, all around seniors. Everybody will be 60, 70, and 80. In that, I've got DDPY for kids, and what we'll do with that in 2018 will be insane. But right now, I've just got where they worked out at my house with me, like 3 different workouts up there. I've got prenatal, DDPY for mamas. I've got beginner, intermediate, advanced, and psycho. So and we're constantly adding live workouts and ones where it's just one-on-one with me or one of my other instructors. We have all the food, like. People I only eat real food, like what God created. I don't eat genetically modified shit. I don't eat that. It's one of the reasons I look the way I look. I'm as lean as I am, and I'm still can do what I can do because I eat real food. And I show people how to, this is going to be the best pizza you've ever had. Unless you're from New Jersey, that pizza's amazing, but this pizza is healthy and it tastes amazing. And I'm going to show you exactly how to make it. That night I might do a pizza and beer night where I'm going to show you a healthy, delicious new beer that I'm trying out. It could be appetizers, it could be salads or juice drinks or protein shakes or entrees, but everything tastes amazing and it's real food. Then we've got a whole inspirational section, motivational Mondays, like that alone. Like for you, cost you nothing. Tap into what I'm doing, bro. It will help you with your depression at a different level. I mean, I have so many guys who do my workout who are vets with a PTSD problem. And I can't tell you how many guys write me and tell me how it's helped them with their depression, helped them with their PTSD. It gives them a confidence because you're feeling, especially as you're getting older or you're beat up, and then you don't feel as beat up, and then you feel younger, and you feel better, and you feel stronger, you feel healthier. It just makes sense. It's all going to affect your mind, Mm-hmm. And then we've got this whole tracking section where we track your weight, your measurements, your pain index, blood pressure, blood sugar, A1C. We've got a whole program guide up there that shows you how to do everything. And I do live shit all the time. And no one's got it. Like, no one can duplicate what we're doing. They can try, but they really can't do what we're doing because we live it,
Oh, yeah, Paige, I got to tell you, bro, I literally was in Atlanta maybe about 3 weeks ago. Bro, I drove by DDP. I popped freaking huge.
How did you not roll in?
Bro, it was a weekend, bro. I just assumed you would be there. But I saw the freaking DDP yoga, and I guess I had to see it to realize this guy has freaking built an empire, bro. Now, bro, you literally are there during the week?
Yes, I'm here right now. I'm here. Well, every Tuesday and Thursday, I teach a beginner class, and it starts at 5:30, but I show up at 5 for anybody who comes earlier so I can show them to help them with the positions. Here's every Monday and Thursday now, ice train. Harold looks amazing. He's down to like 285. His arms are still this big. He's not benching 700 pounds anymore, but he did 225 62 times.
Oh my gosh.
His goal is to get to 75. I'm like, dude, you just had a heart deal. You're good. Like, he loves our workout because it really challenges him because he's not doing the modifications anymore. Like, this is the easiest thing you've ever done, Vince. Or it can be challenging, or it can be the most challenging thing you've ever done. It's like, where do you want to be? Like, when you come back, dude, I'm inviting you. The next time you come to Atlanta, stay with me and my wife, Brenda. I've got the best bed and breakfast ever. My place is, and people come in all the time. Big show. Just talk to me. I think he's going to show up here for a couple of days. I got a kid coming from Temple University because I'm helping him. He's a football player, and they fly him. He flies himself in. He does all this shit. I just let him stay at my house because I'm working with him, and I want to help him. Even because he's coming back from an injury, just get stronger. And he's a kid who I know could really be a top guy in the NFL. So a guy who's ready to put the work in, if I'm working with their program, I'm going to help him, and like anybody comes in. So if you're going to come back through here, I'll make sure you got my number at the end of this thing. Call me and come and spend a day or two with me, bro.
Paige, I don't know if you know or not, but I mean, I moved to Indiana. My son's in Atlanta, so we drive there quite frequently.
Came.
I know he did, bro. Yeah, we drive there quite frequently. I'm going to take you up on this, Paige.
I'm giving you an invitation. I'll throw out an invitation. I don't ever say anything I don't mean.
I know that. Hey, Paige, let me ask you this, bro. I mean, doing what you do, I mean, you got to be such a goal-orientated guy. Is there something, bro, you haven't yet accomplished that you're, at 61 years old, like this is still on your radar? This is still something you want to do? Because, 17 years ago, it was DDP yoga. Is there, what is it now? Is there still something you haven't accomplished?
Well, there's two things that, like, I'm going to meet with my staff here as soon as I hang up with you. Before I'm 65, DDP Yoga is going to be a $100 million company. That's my goal for the company. And then we'll probably sell to a bigger company, and we'll still all be employed, and all my people who work with me are going to have a hell of a day. Because I want them to. I'm not the kind of guy who has to have everything.
Nah,
I like to share it.
I know.
Because it makes people, like, think about that. It sells for $100 million. The person who has 5% or 4% just made $4 or $5 million. Boom. And they got to keep me because I'm going to be doing this when I'm 80.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you this thing, Vince, right now, that I'm putting this out in the universe. I filmed over the last 2 years with a guy named Adi Shankar. And I started my acting career seriously in 2002. And my goal before I'm 65 is never to be The Rock. The Rock is the man. I was so proud that, that the biggest star in the world is one of us. I just want to show that at 65, I'm going to be a working actor. But what's about that, what could happen right now, that's why I'm you got to put this shit out there in the universe because it's so close to happening. This series that I did, they're in their final edits right now. And I still have some voiceover work to do. But by the end of this year, it could be a Netflix original. Dude, I'm the star.
What is it?
Can
you tell me a little bit about it?
Well, I see on your arm right there, you're a fanboy with the Batman thing.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine, it's a dark superhero thing, and I can't let out too much about it. I'll just say to you this. You know how we watch Batman Batman never gets older than like 38, 40, right?
Right, right.
Well, this guy's a darker, and he's not a bat. He's a darker 60-year-old version that drinks and smokes and takes pills for his pain, and he's a badass motherfucker.
Yeah, I like it already, bro. I like it already, just a description.
And it's dark, and it's in your face, and it's set in an alternate universe in 1987. And there was a lot of shit happening there that will come out that I can't really talk about right now. But I'll tell you, Vince, as soon as we know it's out there, I'll come back and I'll do the whole thing on it.
Paige, could you tell me is it a movie or like a series?
It's a series.
Wow, that sounds interesting as hell, man.
Yeah, it's just the way we put it together. We have some things that have never been done before, and I'll tell you what. If you want to see his work, his name is Adi Shankar. And did you ever see the thing on YouTube? It was called Dirty Laundry. It was a Punisher, like short, like 10 minutes. And Thomas Jane actually go on YouTube and look up Dirty Laundry, the Punisher bootleg. The guy who played Ron Perlman played a part of a disabled vet in a wheelchair, ran a liquor store. That was supposed to be my part, but I couldn't do it because of a prior commitment. But Adi also did one that it was called Power Ranger Bootleg, and he took Power Rangers and did it in an R-rated version that was super kick-ass. And then I don't know what that movie did when it came out, but the only reason that movie came out was because 2.5 years ago, Adi did this thing, and the guy who owned Power Rangers sued him and sued YouTube, and they took it off. And then Adi ends up on CNN going, he can't sue me. I didn't monetize anything.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't make any money. We're doing something and then they had to take all their suits off, and, you get like 18 million views on it. You'll love it. Yeah. Check it out. Power Ranger Bootleg. And this guy's just a really creative, and I met him, again, relationships. Who's willing to say they know you? I've known him since he was 23, met him in LA. Now he's like 32, 33, and he's one of my good buddies, and I'm one of the producers on this program as well. And we didn't make it for Netflix. We made it for like YouTube, but it's way better than YouTube.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
You'll dig it, man. You'll dig it.
Paige, I want to ask you one last question, then I'm going to let you go, because I want to get your take on this, because, bro, not being one of the boys and being a writer, I have like a completely different perspective on it, and I'll tell you why. And I want to get your spin on this. Congratulations, you just got inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. We all know, well-deserved congratulations. I got to tell you something, though, Paige. This is the thing that bothers me about the Hall of Fame, and I want to get your spin on it. I am a writer, and, as a writer, I am writing these storylines with these 50 characters. Okay? Now, this is what I say about wrestlers.
You think everybody got to be done 2 minutes.
2 minutes, 2 minutes. This is what I say about wrestlers all the time, Paige. I loved working with these guys because at the core, you guys are blue-collar workers. You go out there every night and bust your ass and never call it in, whether there's 50 people or 50,000. That is an absolute shoot. That's why I have all the respect in the world for wrestlers. But as a writer, I know up and down the card, from first match to main event, everybody works just as hard. Everybody makes the same sacrifices away from the family, hotel rooms, body beaten up. You all go through it. But a lot of times, like the creative is kind of dictating, you know, how far somebody really goes. But the work ethic is the same. Across the board, it's the same. And like sometimes, like that's the issues I have, because like I look at a guy like Steve Lombardi. And I'm like saying to myself, are we really going to look at Steve Lombardi's won and loss record to determine if this guy goes in the Hall of Fame? And like, that's the problem I have with it. There's so many guys at his level that put in the same time, beat their body up. You know what I'm saying, Paige? That's why, like, I feel here's my theory. If you were in the WWE and you laced up a pair of boots, put them in the freaking Hall of Fame, because you all have that same work ethic and you all went through the same routine. Am I nuts thinking that way?
Well, I think that it still comes down to, you know, and there's guys who I know, you know, like when people used to say to me, dude, I can't believe you're not in the Hall of Fame. I used to say to them, listen, Jake Roberts isn't in the Hall of Fame. Macho Man isn't in the Hall of Fame. Michael P.S. Hayes isn't in the Hall of Fame. You know, when those guys are in, you know, then you can talk to me about it, you know, but up till that point, and I'm the guy that I know that my career, no one did it like I did it, you know, and because it was just the way it happened. I mean, it was, you'll never be able to get done again because no one will get to be in those spots. You never say never in our business, as you know, but really, really hard to duplicate. I think it, you know, it goes into, it's the fans, you know, like they start putting, like, there was a lot of people pushing for me over the last couple of years, you know, and I think that there's a lot of guys that deserve to be, and I don't agree that everyone has the same work ethic. I think certain guys, like, I never saw a match that Eddie Guerrero or Benoit went out in, and they didn't leave everything. Same like Zig Ziglar, freaking not Zig Ziglar,
Dolph Ziggler.
I get Zig Ziglar in my mind. Dolph Ziggler, I don't think he could phone a fucking match in. Yeah. John Cena, for that matter, don't think he could phone a match in. You know, like, you know, I got to tell you, I pulled him aside. I got to go leave my meeting right now, but I got to say this. I pulled him aside because he's always been super nice to me and always walk up, give me a handshake, walking by. This time I stopped him, and I pulled him back because we don't really have any kind of relationship. But I wanted to know, because I see guys bust his chops. You know, I don't understand it because, to me, he's the hardest working cat I've ever seen out there. Yeah. And me and Austin have talked about this in detail. And I said, man, I just want to thank you for what a great example you set for our business. Forget all the charity work, which is insane that you do. I said, when I saw you do the ESPYs, like, wow. Like, that might be the hardest thing anybody. Like, the only other guy I know that could do that would be The Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only other guy that I could, you know, that could go out there and kill it with his comedy and, you know, be like, people thinking, what the hell is he doing out there? Let's talk about the elephant in the room. He killed it. He killed it. And then I saw him on Saturday Night Live, host that, right after that, and he killed that.
Yep.
And his acting, you know, like, I just want to let you know that I'm watching what you're doing, man, and I'm appreciating it big time. And I just want you to know I'm a fan. And he's super humble. He's all uncomfortable to a certain degree. Because I made him listen.
Yeah.
You know, because, you know, he hears all the time, but when you hear from another one of the boys that, you know, been to his spot, not like he's at, you know, because he's at a Rock, you know, he's like right under the Rock right there.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of respect. And, like, I wouldn't put those two cats on anybody's level, except for Hulk and Steve and Rick, you know, guys like that, you know. Yeah. And I'm just happy to be a part of the crew, bro.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
That's
listen, you're not just part of the crew. You're the only saint in the crew, bro. You're Saint Dallas, and bro, listen, I mean this from the bottom of my heart. God bless you, bro. Like I'm so happy I can tell you that, because for what you're doing, bro, I really mean it. God bless you, Dallas. I don't know what else to say. But everybody, there you have it. Saint Diamond Dallas Page, an inspiration to us all, an inspiration to me. Dallas, thanks for joining us.
It's right about time again to swerve again, confuse the general fans again. Add another swerve and then put it on a pole again. Put it on a pole again. Put it on the pole again. And our square to quad is gonna get emotional as I wait to overbook the damn cards.